Hello, in this short video, we're going to look at direct citations, indirect citations, and works cited, specifically in reference to the comparison and contrast between Sherlock Holmes and Father Brown. So, first thing I need to know is there's two types of citations, direct and indirect. Let's start with the direct. A direct citation is when I use the text word for word. And when I do this, because the words are not mine, I must put them in quotation marks and I must give credit. I must source where I got those words from. So for example, this is a direct word-for-word citation from the Red-Headed League. And you'll notice that the Red-Headed League is in quotation marks because that's the name of the short story. But this part here, in quotation marks, that starts with "there is" and ends with "nominal services," is a direct quote from the story. And it is specifically a story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That's why I got Doyle's name there. And it's on page 19 of the book that will be in my works cited section. Okay, so that is a direct citation. Now, if I'm going to paraphrase this information and do an indirect citation, I still have to give credit where credit is due. Because no matter whether I'm quoting directly or I'm putting the information in my own words, it's still not my idea. Okay, so an indirect citation is a paraphrase, and it would look like this, for example. Give you a moment to read that. Now you notice that the information between the direct citation and the indirect citation is the same, but in the second case, these are my words. They're not Doyle's words, but it's still Doyle's idea. So I still have to provide the reference in parentheses, author and page number. Okay. Now, when I'm doing this sort of academic writing, I may also use the author's name directly in my sentence. And if I do that, I end up with something that looks like this. Now, you'll notice that this is almost identical to the indirect citation. The difference is I actually mention the author here. And since I mention the author in the sentence itself, I don't have to mention his name in the parentheses. I just put the page number. All right. Don't need to be redundant. Don't need to be redundant. I may also have a citation that comes from more than one page or from more than one source. For example, multiple sources. So in the first case, I have two bits of information. I have Wilson's responding to the ad, and Duncan Ross accepts him into the league, and that Wilson ends up copying the encyclopedia. This comes from two different pages in the book. So Doyle, 21, 22, both pages. The second sentence that I have here contrasts Sherlock Holmes and Father Brown. Sherlock Holmes being tall and slender, Father Brown being short and a little bit overweight. And I have specific references for those things, right? I did not make up Sherlock Holmes's appearance. I did not make up Father Brown's appearance. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and G.K. Chesterton respectively did that. So I have to put in both references. Okay. Now, last, I'm going to have a works cited page. And my works cited page is going to show which books I used where I got my information from. So, for example, the works cited for the Red-Headed League would look like this. I have the author's name. I have the short story specifically, the title of the book, where the book was published, the state, the company that did the book and when they did it. And then I note that this is a print copy of the book. It's not something I found on the internet, right? And this is specifically the works cited for the classroom sets of these books that we have. Okay, the G.K. Chesterton, Father Brown, Secret of Father Brown books would follow this same format, only it would use the information from that particular book. So that seems pretty simple. Now, do note, however, that here, this Doyle, this reference here, this isn't from the Red-Headed League. This is from our first Sherlock Holmes story that we read, in which case I would need to add that as an additional works cited. Pretty simple. In any event, this is the basics of direct citations and indirect citations using MLA format, which is pretty simple, and the format for how to specifically add a book to my works cited page, which goes at the end of my paper. This information can be found in more detail in your ELA notes folder. There's 3 new documents in there that deal with this. To be honest, deal with this in more detail than you need right now, but maybe later on. In any event, that's it for this video, and I hope that this helps clear some things up for how your paper is going to end up looking once we have our final drafts done. Thank you.